You are listening to Skin, Earth, Vitality, the podcast where ancient wisdom meets modern vitality. If you are seeking to reconnect with your innate vibrancy, you're in the right place. I'm Emily Davis, a seasoned holistic esthetician and herbalist. Join me as we unlock the secrets of ancient skincare practices, explore the beauty of seasonal and nature-based living, herbalism, and true holistic well-being for you and the broader ecosystem. Please remember that the information I share in this podcast is based on my personal and professional experiences and is intended for educational and informational purposes only. It is not individualized skincare advice, nor is it medical advice. I encourage you to take charge of your own health decisions and listen to your body, seeking out the resources and professionals that best support your wellness journey. Well, hello there. Welcome in. It's episode 25. I'm really proud of myself for being consistent the last 25 weeks in a row. That's more than 6 months at this point. So, and I've been doing it every week and back again. So shout out to me and shout out to you for being here and listening. I'm so grateful that you are choosing to spend your time with me. I do not take that for granted. And today I've got a really juicy episode prepared for you called Herbs for Juicy Aging. I recently put out an Instagram post that said aging gets to be juicy and expansive. And I got a huge response, and I thought that was very interesting and very telling because it's like, aging gets to be juicy. And it's just like kind of a cool thing when we flip the narrative of what we think to be true, and we remember that there are many truths, and just because there's one story playing in your subconscious doesn't mean that it has to be your truth forever. And I definitely think that's the case with our view of aging. I want to talk a little bit about the nuance in the aging conversation today. Because I just think it's such an interesting topic. It's something that I spend a lot of my time thinking about, our mindsets around aging, mostly because of my line of work. You know, I'm working with clients every single day, talking to people all day, every day about how they feel in their skin, how they feel about their appearance. And I think that we've been told this story that old is bad, or aging is bad, and aging is ugly, and not looking like you're 22 means ugly. You know, that sucks. That's one side of this story, is that the marketing around the beauty industry that has been profiting off of your insecurities has done us a disservice. And also, I have been really thinking about the lack of language around the aging conversation. So a lot of times this term pro-aging is talked about in the holistic aesthetics community, and we want to be supporting pro-aging because we don't want to anti-age, right? Aging is a gift, aging is happening, we're all aging, so we should be pro-aging. I also don't know that I love that term. I've used it myself, but in the back of my head, when I hear that term, it's kind of like, bring on the degeneration. And I know that that's not what they mean by that. I guess what I'm trying to say is, with aging, it's like we don't want to just accept aging. And the reason that I say that, again, it's a lack of language, I think. And I was reading on the Max Planck Institute for Biology of Aging, and they said aging and age are not the same thing. Aging and age are not the same thing. And I was like, holy cow, of course, that's exactly right. Age is your chronological number, and that's how many years you've been on the earth, and there's nothing you can do to fight against that, and you shouldn't be afraid of continuing to age and for that number to go up. That's normal. It's a gift. We're so lucky to age in that way. Aging, I think, well, I'll just say, according to an article in the journal Cell called The Hallmarks of Aging, states aging is characterized by a progressive loss of physiological integrity, leading to impaired function and increased vulnerability to death. This deterioration is a primary risk factor for major human pathologies, including cancer, diabetes, cardiovascular disorders, and neurodegenerative diseases. So aging is more of like that biological breakdown, right? We want to look at aging with vitality, with vibrancy, and herbs can help with that. Herbs aren't the only thing that can help with that. Lifestyle is the foundation, and then herbs are kind of like the icing on top, kind of like how skincare is the icing on top of our lifestyle. So there's so many lifestyle factors that can go into this, and it's not just about biohacking your way to an age of 180. It's not about longevity for longevity's sake. It's about feeling great for as long as possible. And lifestyle habits that can contribute to this primarily include living in congruence with nature. If you're ever wondering, like, what can I do to be healthy? I think the biggest question is, how can I convene with nature? How can I remember that I am nature? And so this looks like living in season, eating as many different kinds of seasonal fruits and veggies as you can, as fresh as you can. Supporting circadian living. That looks like making sure you're getting sunlight in your eyes in the morning and you're getting sunlight in your eyes throughout the daytime, which is going to support your melatonin production. That's going to make sure that you're able to fall asleep more appropriately. Getting sunset sunlight in your eyes and then not getting blue light in your eyes after dark. So in addition to that, rest, moving your body every day, taking long walks every day, getting into new environments as often as you can in order to diversify your biome, meditation, deep breathing, living in gratitude, slowing down and not just wolfing down food when you're in the car on the way to the next thing, but actually taking time to sit down, eat a meal mindfully, chewing your food, social connection. There's so many things that are really, really inexpensive or free that we can tap into to support healthy vibrancy through our age. And now let's get into the herbs, because that's what I'm really excited to talk about today. I love that herbs can support aging in this beautiful way, and I love that we can convene with plants in this way, and we can have this beautiful relationship with plants. So I think all of the herbs, I picked 5 herbs today, and all but one are adaptogens. Adaptogens were once called longevity tonics, and they're now called adaptogens. And so first on the list is reishi mushroom. Reishi is a medicinal mushroom. It's gotten a lot of press lately. It's pretty famous. But reishi mushroom is known as the mushroom of immortality in Chinese medicine. It's been used for thousands of years in Chinese medicine, and it's now one of the most studied medicinal herbs. In animal studies, it's shown to have lifespan expansion properties. It's rich in antioxidants like polysaccharides and triterpenes that protect cellular DNA from oxidant damage that cause aging. So this is a big part of that degeneration is oxidative stress on our cells and on our DNA. Anytime we've got antioxidants, which reishi is extremely rich in, we're going to be supporting our bodies. Reishi is super bitter. If you've ever consumed it by itself, it's a very bitter herb. Anything bitter is going to stimulate bile flow and be supportive to the liver. The liver is important because the liver is not just for detox. The liver is our body's metabolic center. It provides energy to our body's cells from the food that we eat, and this means that when we support our liver, our hair and our skin are going to be more full of life because they're getting energy from the liver. It's connected to stamina, but it's not really like a stimulant type of an adaptogen like ginseng or eleuthero or rhodiola. It's actually more of like a builder. It helps us to naturally generate steady energy throughout the day. It improves our stress response. So we get stresses that are both physiological and emotional, and both of those are going to be harsh on the body, right? So physiological stress maybe looks like pollution or infections or trauma that we experience, excess heat, excess cold, dehydration, things like that. And then of course, emotional stressors are things that we deal with every day. If you're sitting in traffic, it's highly emotionally stressful, or things like divorce or whatever's happening in your life that's causing trauma to your body. Reishi can really help you to improve your stress response and improve your ability to deal with that stress. So you may have heard of something called advanced glycation end products, also called AGEs for short, which is so appropriate for them because they're toxic molecules that are formed when proteins or fat combine with sugar in our bloodstream, and they can be really damaging to cells, and they contribute to this degenerative process called aging. Reishi can actually offset this by inhibiting glycation. Reishi is a vasodilator, which means that it helps to dilate or enlarge blood vessels, and this helps to reduce pressure of the blood flow. And then it also helps to support fatigue. It's also what's known as an immune modulator. And immune modulators are really cool because we have immune stimulants like echinacea. And an immune stimulant like revs up your immune system when it's weakened or depleted. And then that's not great if you have an autoimmune condition, because we don't want to further rev up the immune system in that situation. We want to take it down a notch. And an immune modulator, it's going to do what is needed in that moment. If it needs to calm the immune system, it will, or if it needs to rev it up, it can also do that. It's very intelligent in that way. And then topically, reishi is beautiful because of its antioxidant properties, but one antioxidant specifically called beta-glucan, reishi is super rich in this, and it's one of my favorites for improving our skin's natural ability to stay moisturized. It helps with our natural wound healing process, which means that it's like repairing any damage that our skin gets from environmental stressors like pollution, smoking, excess sun, wind, whatever it may be. And then it also helps to support collagen production and strengthen our skin's barrier, which again is going to help with moisturizing because a healthy barrier will retain moisture better. It helps with a healthy skin cell turnover rate, which naturally slows as we age. And because of this, it's just a beautiful topical product as well as being consumed internally. And if you're looking for reishi in a topical preparation, in my highly vetted fine skincare boutique online, I do carry several products that contain reishi. And number one being the Laurel Hydrating Elixir 1 from Live Botanicals. It's found in the Rose and Rama Tulsi Radiance Elixir. So both of those are hydrating tonics, like a spray on toner, but instead of your traditional toner where we're super drying, maybe astringent or high in alcohol, these are very hydrating and nourishing, almost like a spray-on serum. And then it's also in the Lavish Loving Recovery Beta Glucan Mask made by Blissoma. I love that mask as a sleep mask. So sometimes I'll just put it on, like once a week, I'll put it on right before I go to bed and I'll sleep in it. And I get all of those beautiful benefits of reishi as well as maitake mushroom and then oats, which are also high in beta glucans. All right, heading into the second herb that I've picked, and this is not an exhaustive list by any means. There are hundreds of herbs that are supportive to vibrant aging. I just chose a couple that I really like to engage with regularly. Next is ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is often mistaken for a mushroom, but it's actually a root, and it has long been revered as a powerful rejuvenating tonic because it really helps to support both resiliency and longevity. It's calming and strengthening to our nervous system without overstimulation. So kind of like how I talked about reishi not being like a stimulant like caffeine, this is a slow restorative builder. It's nourishing and strengthening for those who are depleted or overworked or overstressed. It's a rebuilder for vitality for those who are depleted. It's not your energy drink style of adaptogen. Ashwagandha can activate autophagy, which is like cell cleanup. So it's helpful for cleaning up damaged cells that we want out of the way. This is one of the big benefits of intermittent fasting, and one of the reasons that it became so popular is because its ability to stimulate autophagy. But ashwagandha does this as well. There are many plants that can help to stimulate autophagy, and I do think like 13-hour fasting is pretty appropriate for most people to help clean up cancer cells and other damaged cells in our body. But pretty cool that ashwagandha can do that as well. It may increase estrogen production, which can help support connective tissue, muscles. It can help support the brain during and after menopause. It may significantly increase telomerase activity. So telomerase is an enzyme that helps to maintain telomere length. Every time that a cell divides in our body, the telomeres get shorter. Telomeres are tiny regions of repeated DNA sequences that cap the end of chromosomes. They're often compared to the plastic pieces. I don't remember what they're called now, of course, but you know those little plastic pieces at the end of our shoelaces that cap it and keep them from fraying. They're compared to that because they also keep chromosome ends from fraying and sticking to each other, which when that happens, it destroys or scrambles an organism's genetic information. So your genetic information. When telomeres get short, it's a marker of cellular aging, and it decreases with age. So they become shorter and shorter normally as we age. And this shortening is linked to age-related diseases like cancer, diabetes, osteoporosis, coronary heart disease. So we want to do whatever we can to support telomerase activity, to support keeping these little plastic shoelace end caps as long as possible. So ashwagandha may have the ability to increase this telomerase activity. Other things with lifestyle that we can do is decreasing our stress or increasing our ability to cope with stress, avoiding obesity, exercise, healthy eating. All of these things will help to support telomerase activity, and it's super important when we are wanting to prevent age-related degeneration. Also, ashwagandha is immunomodulatory. So again, another really cool aspect. Ashwagandha helps to restore healthy sleep cycles. It can help enhance athletic performance. It acts as a reproductive tonic and as an aphrodisiac. It supports fertility in men and women, and fertility is such a marker of your overall well-being. And it's not just about like if you want to have a baby or not. It's really, really important just to support your overall health, wellness, vitality, to support your fertility. So anything that's supportive to fertility is going to help with supporting wellness through age. Ashwagandha is definitely one where there are some precautions that we should mention or think about. With any herb that you are considering consuming, it's really important that you make sure it's appropriate for your body before you consume it. Ashwagandha should definitely be avoided in cases of hyperthyroidism due to its stimulating effect on the thyroid. It is a nightshade, so definitely avoid if you're allergic to or if you're avoiding nightshades. It's quite controversial for usage during pregnancy, so of course that's definitely something that you should speak about with your own practitioner to decide if that's appropriate for you. So next up on the list is kola. This is a great one for the prevention of cognitive decline. And I always have thought of kola first whenever I think like, oh, I'm having issues with my brain. It's one of the first ones that I reach for because, again, just like reishi and ashwagandha, this isn't like a stimulant. It's a really restorative builder. It's very gentle on our system. When I had COVID the first time, I had the most gnarly brain fog for weeks after. It was so awful. I remember I used to do dermaplane. I do not do dermaplaning anymore. I'll do a whole episode on that, but it just doesn't fit in line with my skin philosophy. But I was doing dermaplane at the time. And I remember a client had asked me if I thought she should get a dermaplane. And I was like, sure. And she's like, well, what is a dermaplane? And I could not think of the words to say. And I just sat there and I was like, and it was so embarrassing. And I'll never forget that. I will never forget how foggy my brain was. I could not function. And it lasted for weeks, but I really feel like it would have lasted for much longer if I wouldn't have been doing my regimen of gotu kola, lion's mane, fish oil, and then a more stimulating herb called eleuthero. So I was doing those all together. And it was like night and day difference when I would take it. It would just totally lift me out of that fog, and thank God it went away. Gotu kola is just such a powerful neuroprotective herb, which means that it's going to help protect the brain from damage or from disease. And it helps to improve blood flow to the brain, which means we've got more oxygen being sent to the brain cells. It may also help regeneration of nerve cells and improve the repair process in the brain. So, of course, preventing cognitive decline is such an important part in this, quote, anti-aging conversation, because the increasing risk of neurodegenerative diseases like dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's is such a big thing, and it's rising. Cognitive health is such a key aspect of overall wellness and quality of life. But that's not all. Topically, gotu kola is pretty cool. And I don't get why gotu kola doesn't get talked about as much. It doesn't get as much press as like hyaluronic acid does, because everybody knows about hyaluronic acid. But gotu kola is incredibly wound healing, and it's actually more firming to the skin than vitamin C is, which I think is fascinating. And it helps the skin's natural moisture retention. It helps to boost circulation, which is of course going to mean we've got more nutrient delivery coming to our skin cells, and that translates to vibrant, glowy skin, right? It has an incredible wound healing ability, which I talked about before with reishi. That means that it's going to repair damage that we get from stress to our skin. When we have a wound healing ability, that doesn't just mean it's good for vibrant aging. It also is really helpful for rosacea, for eczema and dermatitis, and then especially for acne, because every time we have a breakout, that's a little tiny wound. And so we want to be supporting our wound healing process as much as we can if we're breakout prone. So products, I have a ton of products apparently in my shop that have gotu kola. First is from Live Botanicals, the Ambient Moisture Liquid. So that's this beautiful hydrating serum that I carry that smells like fresh strawberries. It's so beautiful. So that one goes underneath your moisturizer, and it's just like a plumping, hydrating serum. From Laurel, I have several products that I carry that have gotu kola. So we have sun serum, both day balm, night balm, and eye balm have gotu kola. I love that in the eye balm. It's beautiful for firming that delicate skin around the eyes. And then also the Hydrating Elixir 1, which I talked about before, that has the reishi in it as well. And then Laurel's Antioxidant Serum, which is like their multivitamin for your skin. It's another oil serum that I actually use as a daily moisturizer in combination with the Hydrating Elixir 1. And then finally from Blissoma, their Photonic Light Shifting SPF 30. Number 4 on the list is seaweed. And I'm just talking seaweed in general terms because a lot of seaweeds have similar benefits, whether you're eating dulse or Irish moss or whatever it may be. Seaweeds are just so supportive. My lymphatic teacher once said, we don't age, instead we dehydrate. And I think that that's like the image I get of like really crusty kind of aging, the opposite of juicy aging, right? And so seaweed is grown in the ocean, of course. Think of that environment. It's cooling, it's wet. So seaweed in our body is going to be deeply hydrating, deeply cooling, highly wound healing, very soothing. It's such a beautiful thing to consume on a regular basis. It's rich in vitamins A, C, and E. Vitamin C is a cofactor for collagen production. Seaweed also helps to support collagen synthesis because of its amino acid content, which help to provide the raw materials necessary for collagen building. Zinc and copper are both important for collagen synthesis. And then Seaweeds also have many antioxidants that help to protect the collagen fibers by reducing oxidative stress that break down collagen. It's a great source of polysaccharides that actually help keep our skin moisturized from the inside out. And then seaweed also is really supportive to the detox process in our body. Compounds like alginates bind to heavy metals and toxins. And then we also have nutrients like iodine, zinc, selenium that all help the liver to both process and eliminate toxins from our body. It's going to enhance cellular function and enhance our repair mechanism. And then topically, seaweed is amazing. If you can find products that have seaweed in them, they're good for your skin. I don't care what the issue is, because seaweed topically will almost immediately stop pain. It will help to regenerate the skin and tissue below the skin. It's very healing. It's going to calm inflammation. If you're looking in my shop, the products that I carry are Peace, which is it's a moisturizer, but I often use it as a serum because I'm in such an arid climate. If you're in a really humid climate, Peace might be a beautiful moisturizer for the evening for you. The Lavish mask, which is that sleep mask that I was talking about before, also has seaweeds in it. And then Refine is a clay mask with seaweed that I love. And then the Fora SPF also has seaweeds in it. Finally, on our list, number 5 is schisandra berry. This is also known as 5-flavor berry because it has sweet, bitter, salty, spicy, and sour flavors. It's sometimes referred to as nature's nerds, like the candy nerds, because it has such a unique taste. Although I would say anyone who's ever eaten nerds would not think that schisandra tastes like nature's nerds. It's very bitter. For me, that's one of the most forward profiles that comes out. It's almost acrid to me. But then it also has like that sour and like a little bit of sweet. And then I feel like you can really taste the saltiness as well. So it's not gross, and I love to eat them. There's a tincture, which is a glycerin from Wish Gardens Botanicals, and it's like a little pump bottle, and I will just pump that right into my mouth a couple of times a day when I consume schisandra, and that's what I have found to be the most tasty way to consume it. But it's also known as beauty berry, and that's because of its ability to support the skin, to prevent collagen breakdown by inhibiting specific enzymes called collagenases that break down collagen. So these get stimulated by pollution, by smoking, by excess, and underline the word excess, sun exposure, chronic inflammation. Schisandra also helps to stimulate fibroblasts, which are cells that produce new collagen. And it's also rich in vitamin C, E, and polyphenols. So I talked about how important vitamin C is as a cofactor for collagen production, but polyphenols are so cool because they have some ability to slow down what's called cellular senescence, which is like this process of our cells not dividing anymore. And it is good because it helps damaged cells to not turn into cancer, but when it gets to be too many cells become senescent, they actually accumulate in our tissues and are really damaging. So this accumulation is considered a hallmark of aging, and it's believed to contribute to age-related diseases and metabolic disorders. So polyphenols act like a shield for our cells, helping them to stay healthier for longer and helping us to look and feel vibrant. Schisandra is super supportive to the liver. It actually helps to drain heat from an overworked liver. It supports both phase 1 and phase 2 of liver detox. So that's kind of cool because a lot of times when we hear about things that support our liver, they're only supporting one of the two phases that our liver goes through. So phase 1 is when the liver changes toxins into less harmful forms. And then phase 2 is when the liver makes these substances water soluble for easy removal via either urine or bile. So it's pretty cool that it does both phase 1 and phase 2. It's one of my favorite go-to plants for supporting my body's natural detox process. And then topically, schisandra is so amazing because it's photoprotective. It can help to reduce UV-induced oxidative stress and collagen breakdown. And it's also an adaptogen. And so in our skin, it's going to support the skin's ability to deal with all of the environmental stressors like pollution or heat or excess cold or whatever it may be. So products that I carry that have schisandra in it include the Laurel Hydrating Elixir 1. That's been coming up in all of these. I feel like that's my absolute favorite. I'm going to put some on my skin as soon as I'm done recording. And then also the Honey Berry Mask from Laurel, which is a beautiful enzymatic, hydrating, moisturizing honey mask that smells so freaking good. And then it's in the Live Botanicals Tidal Moon Moisture Mask. This is also a honey mask, and it's just all the Pacific Northwest vibes. It smells so good. I believe it has cedar wood and rose, and it's just one of my absolute favorite calming and moisturizing masks. And then it's also in the Live Botanicals Vibrant Garden Oil, which is a universal oil that is wonderful for use with facial massage. Alrighty, that is all of the herbs that I have for you today. There are many, many more. I could have gotten into ginseng and maca, and we'll get into those in another episode, but I wanted to just talk about some of my favorites that are supportive both topically and internally for juicy aging. So a recap, we have number 1, reishi mushroom, ashwagandha, gotu kola, seaweeds, and schisandra berry. So check these out. If you're interested in consuming any of these, I highly recommend Mountain Rose Herbs online. You can head to their website and just put in the search bar whatever herb you're looking for. It will bring up a little bit about the herb. It will bring up some contraindications, which is super helpful. And if you are like, I love herbs, I love when you talk about herbs, but I have absolutely no idea what to do with that information, episode 23, episode 23 is for you. That was all about what to do with this information, how to get into herbalism, how to dip your toe into it. I also talked about Mountain Rose Herbs on there and how you can find herbs. I talked about how you can research herbs a little bit better than just putting the name in a Google search bar, because that's not super helpful information usually. So I hope that today's episode was supportive. I hope it was juicy for you, and I will be back next week. I can't wait to see you then. Take care. You've been listening to Skin, Earth, Vitality. If you liked what you heard today, consider giving me a 5-star rating. It helps other people just like you find the show. You can shop products and find all of my offerings on my website, stratumaesthetics.com, and follow me on my social channels at Stratum Aesthetics.